this analogy, this analysis that you just cited would only be applicable when all things are equal on normal in normal circumstances, so to speak. Now, we have a financial system where a lot of the officials are heavily corrupt. Some of them could be compromised. A few Naira notes will do the magic.
That's what the banks are. That's what prisons are there for.
So how do you think the CBN could monitor its banking officials so that it will not be, aiding and abetting?
EFCC and the NFIU have access to every account. Every Nigerian, your accounts can be opened and accessed.
How effective?
Now, the thing is this, they've already flagged accounts. For instance, any inflow into your account of a particular amount over a particular period is flagged. Then they have to investigate. It is when they fail to do their job. One of the best ways to ensure that we can get the best out of this policy, the people that are monitoring should be punished for any infraction without mercy. If I am an EFCC official or I'm a banking official and I connive with somebody that is corrupt, I should lose everything I have. And I should be made a public example. When we do that, you see, if you look at the US, for instance, when you commit a crime, for instance, you steal a vehicle and you are running away, you find that the policing system will mobilize every police officer everywhere on just one person. It's not because they have enough police officers to man the entire US, but they make a public show of every single person that wants to, attack the law. That's the same thing we must do here. We must begin to see CBN officials, bank officials, EFCC, NFIU, anybody that is supposed to be a custodian of law and order that flouts it should be made to go to prison in such a way and manner that any other person who is into such things is forced to dissuade. Look at Abba Kyari, for instance. Abba Kyari is a classical example of how we can change the entire police system, but we have not done anything. The man is still there in prison. Still there in prison custody and allowed to every single thing he has because he's a police officer. It's the same thing that should happen to CBN officials, happen to banking officials. If you are a banker and government has given a policy and you connive with a thief and you bring money in, not only should you lose your job, you should lose everything, your record, your capacity to practice everything, because you are a custodian for the benefit of Nigeria. So somebody is bringing in a billion and you go and accept it. Once that money hits its account, it must be flagged with the FCC. If the man in the FCC does not call the superiors that a certain amount of money hits an account and is supposed to be investigated and sits down on it, once that crime comes to the open, the EFCC official, the NFIU official, the bank officials, everybody within that chain of corruption should be made culpable and punished publicly. That's how we can get order.
I was going to say that.
If it's my father that has money somewhere, I'm saying it here publicly. If my father, my uncle, my mom, my aunt has committed some of these crimes that we are talking about, and I get to find out that my father has some money in one room, billions, belonging to Nigerians, it is my duty to report it to the police, because that is an act that is wicked. So we can work together to put some sanity in this country.
Yes, I was going to say that corruption is a chain, and most importantly in the financial institutions that we have across the country, with respect to the good ones. But of course, in every 12 there will definitely be a Judas. There are bad eggs amongst them who will definitely liaise with these corporates and find a way around the policy, like circumvent it. Obatula Jonathan, what do you think government should do in preparation for some of those bottlenecks?
Yeah, this we call it bottlenecks, but I think this time around also the government they are rising up and they are coming up with solutions, because just yesterday, the EFCC and the Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, they are working together with the banks. And there is a threshold, there is a framework for the banks. Any amount that hits any account, you flag it and you report to the NFIU. The NFIU works together with the EFCC. Even monies that will be deposited now, as this new design to be hitting the banks, they want to see people that are coming to withdraw huge amount of money. You know, some people want to change what they have at home and take it back from the new one. So
we understand that this is supposed to be the normal practice.
Yes.
But what we're saying is there are some people who will circumvent
the law,
these laid down rules and regulations. We cannot shy away from that. They are already warming up. They are ready to make millions from this new policy. Make profit of it.
Going forward, what I think the country should do, and it is something that we've been clamoring for over time, is to strengthen the judiciary. You see, when you mention the case of Abba Kyari and other criminals too that have been caught in the act over time, we still have some lawyers that want to defend them in court. We still have some, and they want to follow all these processes. Is democracy, unlike what is obtainable in China, or all those capital punishment that we see publicly, that anybody that commits this certain offense we have to be prosecuted this way. But in democracy, you want to follow due process. The person also have his own rights, and you don't want to abuse it. So what I think should be done is to strengthen the judiciary and to give expedite action to cases, especially now that we have this burning issue about corruption, about rebuilding our economy, to see cash flow in the system, so that the judiciary also will place more emphasis on corruption charges, especially now that we are talking of the free fall in Naira, and we are talking about the new redesign of, you know, the conversation around the country is centered around what we are discussing now. So the judiciary also should collaborate with CBN and EFCC. The EFCC cannot just prosecute alone. The judiciary should support them to ensure that anybody that is gaming the system is brought to book.
Okay, before we go to the political aspects of this discussion, let's try and get across to the financial expert in the house this morning, Mr. Ogunleye, who is standing by to also air his views and probably help us look at this from another spectrum as an expert in the business of finance this morning. Hello, good morning. Mr. Ogunleye, good morning. You're on. Okay. All right. Now, another aspect of this, new policy would be that it would help government to curb vote buying during the elections next year. A lot of people believe that this would be easily achieved, given that some of the politicians who probably might have, stockpiled money for the purpose of vote buying in 2023 would get a shock out of their life now that they'll have to do some sort of swapping, and that process could really not be smooth for them to achieve. But the question is, how much of this can be achieved? We're in a country where we have very smart people who, regardless of what government is putting in place, already have their own ways to,
Look, Nigeria always has government. What Nigeria doesn't have is governance. There's always government. We don't govern. If you drive on the streets, if you really relate with your environment, you will be able to isolate what the problem in Nigeria is. Governance was what the Yorubas, for instance, used to govern the environment when we had them running themselves and there was no central policing system. Where any man that steals understands automatically that there's repercussion for actions. And so it's not because our fathers were not willing to steal, but because the punishment was brutal, was unforgiving, was there, was constant.
So the new policy called vote buying, is that okay?
It will call vote buying to some extent, but where it will lose its grip is if the system itself permits people to get around it. For instance, if I have 10 billion that I want to use in buying votes, and I'm forced to bring it back into the system, I pay back into the bank because it becomes invalid in January. The implication for government is that I can't go back and access that 10 billion. As a matter of fact, since government is also preaching cashless policy, if you want to access the money, you can't collect it in raw cash. You will have to go to the bank and transfer. Now, if you transfer money to the voters, it can be traced. The gentleman, 5,000 was transferred to 200 people. your name and your account is part of those that will transfer. So over time, whether it is the APC government in power or the PDP government when we come into power in 2023, what will happen is that we will have a better system to govern Nigeria. And I think that if government does what it's supposed to do, this will work for all of us.
Okay, then we have Mr. Rotimi Ogule live. Good morning, Mr. Ogule.
Good morning, Bizi.
Yes, I'm fine. Good to have you on the show. So we've been having a conversation around the new Naira notes, the redesigned Naira notes, and the effects this would have on the face of Nigeria's economy, and most importantly, the 2023 general elections. Now, let's start with the decision of CBN to redesign the Naira notes. How did you receive it?
Let me just say, as somebody who is in the financial sector,
you have 1 minute remaining.
Please go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, I'm with you. I can hear you.
Yes, I said when I heard about the news, the first thing I did was to read the intention of the federal government as regards the information they put on out there. I went through that because I know for a policy to be practically brought on board like that, it means that there are some underlying reasons that led to that policy. So I looked at those reasons and
okay, I think we'll have to get back to Mr. Ogule on that. So we have a little edge here, but definitely we'll get across to him. Now, talking about politics still, Obatola Jonathan, you've been on ground. I mean, you even champion an association, Votes Not Fights, right? And you understand how elections have been run in Nigeria over time. With this new policy, do you think there is hope? Will this help, reduce the spirit of vote buying? Because I, for one, cannot really understand how it would work, because I know my politicians and I know what they can do. Do you think this would help?
As much as I am optimistic and I want this to work and to help curb vote trading in our political system, the people are my fear. And the people in this case are enablers, because it is sad when I've observed elections and I've seen young people come out to trade their vote on election day, coming out to seek the help of political parties, looking for who is paying the highest amount of money before they can go vote their own. So it is something that we should appreciate. As Zadok was talking about those days when Yoruba was governing themselves, and not that our parents want to steal, but the shame, the repercussion that they know that will come to their family, that shame these days, in this generation, we lack it. It is the value has long been eroded. So the people are enablers, and they are the one encouraging politicians, and that is why politicians are budgeting for vote buying on election day. With this little development of designing new Naira, yes, some people will not want to go, some people want to go cashless, some people will not want to go with go and be distributing money on that day. And politicians are people that are very, very intelligent. They will not even do their vote buying on the day of election.
That's right.
Vote buying may have started during the campaign processes, sharing of Ankara in the streets. Some people, enablers, political party members that are leaders of the party in each ward, each unit, they are the ones that politicians will use. And that is the power the people have. Until we identify this power and use it, and know that kind of power we have, and use it efficiently. So I just think young people should be more conscious of the power they have. If you look at the voter register, the young people are the majority of persons on the INEC voters register. But it's something that is so unfortunate that people still want to have their voters card to go and register, or to use for identity card in the banks. They still want to have their voters card to trade, to get 5,000 Naira on the election day. As much as you condemn the poor governance, the lack of governance, or the inability to feel the government presence in your locality, as much as you are condemning on that thing, and you are still go ahead to sell your vote, then you are not helping yourself, you are not helping Nigerians, and you are not helping the system. So I want to call on young people to shun vote buying and vote selling as we move to 2023.
Okay, we have Mr. Blair back now. Thank you for rejoining us. So, we're discussing about the effects of the new Naira notes on Nigeria's economy, and you were saying?
Yes, I was saying that when I heard about the news, I looked at the reasons the federal government gave for electing the decision that led to the policy. And I concluded that, can you hear me please?
I can hear you very clearly.
Yes, and I concluded that it was a worthy policy that needed to be pursued, given the state of our economy now, given the reality of our commerce, and given the attitude of the people to our Naira and the credit ratings in Nigeria. I thought and I believe that it was a good policy in time.
Now, there have been this argument that the timing is wrong. We even have that here on this table this morning. Zadok rightly said earlier that the timing is what a lot of Nigerians have problems with. Do you think this is coming at the right time, especially when the country is preparing for a major election?
There are two questions that needed to be asked. When something is good, when it is the appropriate time for it to be introduced, should we consider timing over the effect and that the policy is going to solve? We have to choose between the two. The truth of the matter is that no time will be perfectly good for any policy to be put in place, because there will be a reason why you shouldn't do it by now. Mostly the reason people do from all the information I displayed, there was that the is coming next year February. You are deciding on it. Would this affect the election process? And me, I said no. It will not affect it simply because you want to decide on Naira, and it will start changing from now to January 15, I think. Anybody that wants to change his Naira note within Naira, so that to actually be gross cash, you should be able to do that. The only reason why it will be difficult is when you are engaged in that interest. When you keep excess cash, if you can only do that if you are doing business that is purely legal. I don't know how somebody will put 3, 4, 5 billion at home, and you are comfortable with it. Come on, what I'm saying is this. Except that some people who are desperate to continue with food mines to and spending of cash, except those people will be making case for this timing of the thing. I don't see any reason why anybody should, because of timing, condemn that policy. We are talking of the overall benefit to the economy, not to some very lean and narrow political interest. It is the party in power that the people of whom they are afraid. So I don't know why people are now imposing timing of itself on this policy. That is the way I see it. See, is it not when you have excess cash in the economy that you can now say you want to deploy so much money to the buying votes from the people? If government is now saying that, okay, let us reduce the cash liquidity in circulation so that we can tame all the corrupt and other vices in our society. Should anybody have problem with that? Shouldn't we be talking about how to seamlessly see through what the policies and the timetable itemized by CBN on how to bring about the implementation? Are we not supposed to be bothered about that and continue to do as much job to what the CBN is doing? I mean, they are not working according to plan. We should now begin to raise our voice that we are saying we are going to put into to follow your plan. Officially, the CBN government said they are not going to extend the time. Are we not supposed to be, talking how they are supporting him so that the trend of political and religious class will not change his decision? And we're not supposed to be talking this election. Why are we fixated on the time and election? And this is my view.
Okay, now we've said so much about what this will portend for the nation's economy, and but we're leaving a very significant part of the discussion out, and that would be the aesthetic value of the new Naira notes, which a lot of Nigerians have been talking about. I think that the new Naira notes do not really look like a redesigned piece. Like that, like it's more like a recolored, piece. How would you react to this? How much of redesign was done on the Naira notes, in your view?
With the few people do join in the politics. Is it the color of the Naira or the effort to make the Naira get strength again? So which one is more important? What is the essence of the policy? The essence of the policy is to make our Naira regain its strength.
No, let's get it clear. When the announcement was made by the CBN governor, it was said to Nigerians that a proper redesign will be done. Some Nigerians were expecting something better than what was unveiled yesterday. Just saying.
The question is this. The sense is design. When you design a building, it's different from the way you design the currency note.
Okay.
When you add anything to a currency note, either color, either introduce a new feature, anything that will change its original status, its original feature value to a new one, you can't say the two are the same. They cannot be the same. Even if the complete.
Hello.
People are saying new security features should be put to it, new graphic design should be introduced to it. When we are talking of new design, for example, let me give you a very good example. If you do it graphically, if the design of the money is same and the old color is left there, we leave it easy to differentiate between the two. If we leave the old color, but we just change the graphic design in it, maybe when you put the Naira, you change the logo of the Naira and maybe you introduce more features and you leave the color still. We leave it easy to differentiate. It's not going to be easy to differentiate. If we look at American law as done the change, they change the color and they introduce one security feature to it. So substantially what differentiates the two is even the facial recognition. The color must be different. When the color is not the same, then you easily can spot the difference. All other things that you are talking, introduce the new security feature, do the graphic configuration and change it and all of that, they are just identical. The first recognition you give to money is the color. What is the color? This is the color of the old one, this is the new one. Anybody, when you see it, they can recognize it.
Okay, in other words now, Mr. Gule, you're giving the CBN a thumbs up for a job well done.
Thank you very much. I am doing that simply because the overall expected delivery of this policy is to work at the kind of economy of those who turn cash to articles of trade. Financiality, that's one, so that the Naira can gain its strength back. Then two, the security issue they talk about. Then three, ability to monitor credit from high density to low density, from low density to high density area. So if all these features and all these deliverables are achieved, once I did that with color or no color.
Okay.
What we graphic design give us.
All right, thank you very much for joining us on the show this morning, Mr. Ogunleye. Thank you. Okay, now, Zadok, when you heard about the planned redesign of the Naira notes, did you expect to see what was unveiled yesterday? Did you get value for your expectation?
let's put something on record. The Naira has been redesigned. Security features have been added that are not yet made public. Over time, Nigerians will get to understand it. I have grown up in this country to see our currency change severely, and so when the design came, I was a little bit disappointed because I was thinking that we should be looking at cost-effective measures. For instance, reducing the number of color in our currency, dwelling more on the value on each currency rather than color designs and all. I was also looking at maybe making it a bit smaller, like the US dollar, so that that saves you a lot when you are considering what's been done. But I think the conversation by Nigerians should move away from.
I think the 1,000 naira notes has a little bit of resemblance with the dollar.
It does, but the thing is that the size maybe. But look, like Mr. Blair said, is the value. Because even the Naira, any currency you see is worthless beyond the value that is placed upon it by the issuing agency. And it's the value that we should be concerned with. What should concern Nigerians is that we spend 218 billion Naira to get to where we are, the redesigning. Does that include the cost of printing and all? Maybe. But if we have if we spend 218 billion, how do we as a country ensure that the newly printed currency achieves its purpose? And its purpose is that it should be within the financial institutions for commerce. I was a bit disappointed in the coloring because I felt that you just bring in, this is the 1,000, this is the new 1,000. There's basically no difference. And I made a joke that if you are unfortunate to put the old 1,000 in your pockets and you dye your clothes,
I think you're not referring to one of your Facebook posts.
Indeed, it will change the color, and then you can spend it, because if you blew it,
and that was hilarious.
Now, but there are things that validates the new currency. Number one is the issuing date. Number two is the color. Number three are the security features that are placed in it. The banks will easily identify which is fake because there are security features that are placed in it.
Okay, Jonathan, what would be your take on this?
I was not expecting something colorful, something different. What I was expecting is something different from what we used to have. But my intention is that let us see how this new currency will serve its purpose of financial inclusion. Those that have been holding our cash, let them bring it back into the banking systems, and even more of cashless transactions. Let us see those things. So for me, the colors, I don't have any issue with
insignificant.
It's insignificant, and most of the comments on the social media, when people just want to cruise, they want to cruise around anything that is happening in the country, and there's nothing to fear about. And some of us have not even lay our hands on the cash. We've not seen it yet. We have just seen the pictures. And when you use, for instance, I use an Android phone. Probably my brother is using iPhone. I use an Android phone too. Because he's a big man. Your camera, the quality of your camera can change even the clothes you are wearing sometimes. So when we have this cash on,
so you're still hoping for a better outlook?
I'm not hoping for a better outlook. What we have, the value on it determines what it is. If we shouldn't care about if the CBN is placing 2,000 naira on any note, if 5 naira today, if the 5 naira written on it is changed to 2,000, you see that it is what people will be gunning for. So the color, the size will not even matter.
Something I would have even suggested to CBN is that rather than changing color, design and all, just change the size. Just cut the size down. For cheaper production. Once you cut that size down, it invalidates anything bigger than it. We don't need to change the color. And then the money that people are stored, every Nigerian, irrespective of political party affiliation and all, must come together to agree that there are certain people who are holding everybody down. We must help government, whether it's this government or our government when we come into power. We must help government to bring that money back into the system, force the people to spend that money. If they have to spend it on the election, force them to spend it, let the money leave that space where it's doing nothing, so that it can come back into the system. Let them use the money. If you know that you can't take it to the bank, buy houses, force commerce force transactions to be done in the system so that we can help our currency. We are Nigerians anyway.
Yeah, okay, so Jonathan, your parting shots.
My parting shot is for young people that as we move towards 2023, let us be firm with our decision. As much as we want to see a better country, a better Nigeria, the option of trading our vote, either for cash or for material things or other things, is not the best of decision for us as young people that are willing that our country should be better. So please don't let us sell our vote.
Zadok, what would be your admonition to fellow politicians out there?
Poverty, corruption, and every negative vice is not politically inclined. It also does not care about your ethnicity or religion. We must join our hands together to make sure Nigeria works. If you know anybody who has stockpiled any money, this will be your time to blow. Report them to government so that money can come out and help the society. Thank you.
All right, Zadok's admonishment to politicians would be our last call on the show this morning. I want to thank my studio guests for coming. Zadok, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Obatala Jonathan, it's nice to have you join us.
It's a pleasure.
And of course to Mr. Rotimi Ogunleye, who joined us out studio. Thank you for being a part of the show as well. And for everyone who has been here with us since we started, really appreciate your time and efforts. Next week, Thursday, by God's grace, we'll be back on a fresh edition of Politics 2023. Until then, God bless you.